All right, I'm on a roll. Same day, same outfit, same scruff. Let's see, your dad and cars. Uh, your dad, your dad definitely had a problem with cars. I don't think anybody will argue right. You can ask your mom and your grandma. I don't know how many cars he went through. So when I met your dad, he had the LeBaron. I think it was a LeBaron. And and then let's see, he had the pickup trucks. Let's see, he had I think there might have been a Mazda in there. I know there's a Camaro, two motorcycles because I bought one of them. He had the Honda 600F, the black and red one, which I bought, so he could go out and buy the newer model, which was the silver and black one, which you guys know. And I bought his other one when I was working with him over at Evanston Township, which I'll tell you about later. But your dad and cars. Let me tell you a story about your dad and cars. And then you'll be like, oh yeah, that sounds like dad. So your dad was dating this girl. I think so. I think he had a LeBaron, and I think he went out and got the pickup truck. And he was dating this girl. I can't remember her name. And they were dating for quite a while, and they were pretty serious. This is obviously before he met your mom, and they were quite serious. And so, but as people do, as when they are in love and things like that, they kind of don't necessarily always worry about who they become. And your dad had put on some weight, and so had the girl. And the girl had actually put on a lot more weight. But your dad didn't care. That's because your dad wasn't like that. He cared for her because of who she was. And it didn't bother him that she had gained like a lot of weight. But for whatever reason, it bothered her that he had gained weight. And so she started just calling him like names, calling it out because he'd gained a little bit of weight. And it really hurt your dad's feelings. And I'm like, man, I don't understand, you don't seem to care about her, but she's definitely, she would do it right in front of like me and in front of people. And it was embarrassing for your dad. And I felt bad for him. I'm like, dude, this is just not right. She's not treating you like she cares about you. So I think your dad couldn't take it anymore, and he broke up with her. So we went, and I went with him, and he had a bunch of her stuff, and so we cleaned it out of his house, and I went down with him, and we gave it back to her, and then she was like, just ripping it. I'm like, hey, and I'm like looking at her. I'm like, hey, look at yourself. That's not so. Oh, now I totally remember what happened. I totally remember what happened. This is so embarrassing. I felt bad, but it wasn't my fault. So we're flipping through pictures in her album or something like that, and I was like, I'm sorry. Okay, I was like, oh man, who's this babe in this bikini? And she goes, that's me. And I'm like, oh, okay. So he had met her. She worked at a bar, and she was a bikini beer girl. So she wore a bikini, and she would hand out beers to the guys, and they would buy bikinis because she was a pretty girl in a bikini. But she had gained so much weight, I didn't recognize her in the picture. And I was like, oh my God. And she got furious. She was just blew up. She was so angry. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, man. I was like, I had no idea. And then I was like, but she's making fun of you for gaining like 20, 30 pounds. And she gained so much. I didn't recognize her in the picture, and I felt bad, but what am I supposed to do? Well, needless to say, your dad couldn't take any more of it. And she was really just not very nice to him. And I'm like, man, this is not cool, dude. She is not nice to you. You're way too good for her to be treating you like this. He was totally sweet on her and treated her nice. And so they broke up. So we drove over there and we gave back all her stuff. Now, I think, I can't remember. He had a pickup truck, I think, at the time. And I remember he had a red one and a black one. And for some reason, he like with 2 weeks later, he goes and he trades it back in because he's like, I think it was the black one. Mrs. Cisco your grandma would have to tell you whether I think he had the black one, and he's like, the black just didn't fit me. I wanted the red one. So he already traded in the truck because it was the wrong color. He's like, I didn't fit me. But then like they broke up, and like a couple weeks later, all of a sudden he doesn't have a truck anymore. He's got another car. And I'm like, dude, I just saw you. Mike, where's the truck? And he goes, I was cleaning the truck out, and he found a piece of hair, and it was his ex-girlfriend's hair. And he's like, I found a piece of hair, and I didn't want that truck anymore. So he traded it in because he found his ex-girlfriend's piece of hair in it. And I said, only you would do that, dude. He made me laugh. I was like, I can't believe. He's like, I didn't care. I just didn't want that. He didn't want the memories because he spent a lot of time driving around that truck and stuff. So your dad traded in a car because it had a girl's piece of hair in it. So that was your dad in cars. And you know the rest of the story. I don't know how many he owned after that. I remember he got the Bumblebee car. He saw that in Transformers. He's like, I'm gonna get that Camaro. And then I know he modified it, and then some other stuff. But yeah, so that's the story of your dad and the piece of hair.